Okay, so GQ, actually me, Russell Crowe, that's my name. Today I'm going undercover. It's actually me. Let's check X. Good day, Russell Crowe. Back in the days when you worked on stage, you did Grease. What character did you play? In the theatre musical, there's a character called Roger who keeps showing his ass, or mooning. He sings a song called Mooning Over You, but that character didn't survive it to the feature film. The Insider and Gladiator came out a year from each other. How did Russell Crowe get so ripped? In The Insider, I'm not as big as it looks like I am. I'm actually doing stuff with my body and the way I chose my clothes to make the character look older. This is 1998. The Insider. Gladiator was 1999. Basically, from the moment that I came off the set of The Insider, I started working on getting ready for Gladiator. How did Russell Crowe not laugh when Ryan Gosling did that shriek in The Nice Guys?
You mind if I have an apple?
I did fucking laugh. Ryan Gosling is one of the funniest people I have ever met in my life. Working with him is kind of torturous. I'm known for being able to just stay in character no matter what's going on. But for whatever reason, Ryan tickles my fancy and he can make me laugh at the drop of a hat. Do people talk enough about how incredibly talented Russell Crowe is with accents? Soup's impressive. It's actually one of the things that really bugs me. Back in the day, people used to really care about getting them absolutely right, but now it's like people's ears have changed. They hear so many different voices and stuff now, they don't really know the difference. So post-production on a big film, when you've done an accent, can be quite problematic because nobody really wants you to perfect it like they used to. I like voices. What's your favorite conspiracy theory? Well, currently, I'm reading a lot of stuff that says, full contact in 2027. And there's all these people that used to work for NASA or all these other organizations out there talking about how our history as a species is really simply a series of genetic experiments to get us to where we are now. When you look around, there's a lot of proof that says that might actually be a thing. Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about these days. Quora. I'm not sure what that is. Do I regret turning down Lord of the Rings? I don't, actually. I was a big Tolkien reader when I was a kid, so I got quite excited about the idea of Lord of the Rings. But I very much felt the studio were making that decision, not the film director. And I talked to Peter Jackson over the phone, and he wasn't saying the sort of things that directors would say to you if they were really trying to attract you to a project. And I just kind of got a sense that he already had something else in mind that he wanted to do, and me stepping forward saying yes was actually going to get in his way. So, because the thing is, we come from the same place. So if there's a nuance in that conversation that other people might not hear, we're both New Zealanders. And I knew in his own way, without him saying anything negative, he had another plan. So I just left it at that. Why did the FBI follow Russell Crowe whenever he went for 2 years? It was very odd. That was just like a kidnap threat. I arrived in Los Angeles for something and knock on the hotel room door. It's the FBI. They wanted to have a chat because they'd picked up this kidnap threat, and they asked if I didn't mind, they'd like to hang around with me for a while. It was odd. 2001, I think that started. It was very odd for a while. How did I become a fan of Leeds United? In the early 70s, after I did sport in the mornings, I'd go back home. I was playing rugby league or rugby union at the time and cricket in the summer. Around about the middle of the day, I think one channel had a gardening show. There's only 3 channels back then. One channel had a gardening show. The other channel was showing Swami, somebody or other, doing yoga classes. And the other channel was Match of the Day. And I remember I'm talking about growing up in Sydney with this. Leeds had a pretty good, successful team in the early 70s. So they would come up on Match of the Day quite a lot. So I chose Leeds and my brother chose Liverpool. In our entire lives, we've only ever supported the same team in one area, and that's the national rugby team of New Zealand, the All Blacks. Every other sport, we have different teams. And why was Russell Crowe initially reluctant to sign on to Gladiator? Because it had an absolute shit script. The script was just terrible. It made absolutely no sense, and it delved into things like and which is a true thing, that gladiators in the arena would occasionally basically take on endorsements for products and stuff like olive oil and everything. It's provable, it's a fact, but it's just not interesting for a film, and it kind of takes people out of the time period if it's something that seems so modern. It was my conversations with Ridley, actor to filmmaker, that really made me decide to do that film. I obviously knew he was an incredible director, but in conversation, I also knew I could listen to him and he could listen to me, so we could collaborate then, Am I a method actor? Here's the thing. You have to develop your own method of how you do things, how you understand things, and how you, calculate character emotionally. I do a lot of what I just call simply research, and I actually enjoy that aspect of the job a lot. I think it's a privilege when you have something really interesting and exciting to learn about. I've just come off the set of Nuremberg, and I've been playing Hermann Goering, the head of the Luftwaffe, and there was a huge amount of stuff to read about and learn about with his life prior to that situation. I'm not the actor that likes people to call him by the character's name. Or to me, I exist as the character between action and cut. That's it. But there are other things that you bring into it. And as I said, you develop it over time. You develop your own methodology over time. But I'm not certainly one of those guys that, the production has to bend around to their individual sort of peccadillo about how they want to play. When you've been doing the gig as long as I have, all that stuff is just a waste of time. It is acting at the end of the day, you're just pretending. Alrighty, Instagram, here we go. How did you get into music again after years of focusing on it? How would you describe your band's sound? Now, how do I get into music again? The music doesn't stop. The journey of trying to live a creative life begins with me walking out on the stage with a guitar and singing a song. My first record came out in 1982. There's never been a period of time where I'm not doing music. Just sometimes I don't, tour as much. Particularly while my kids were little, I sort of stopped doing big 30, 40, 50 show tours. So I come off a film set, and then if I was then going to go on the road with the band, there's no time in there to be dad, and I really wanted to be dad. But that doesn't mean I wasn't writing songs, it doesn't mean I wasn't releasing music. So it's been continuous, it's never gone away. This latest stuff that I'm doing now, we've basically, this band, the Gentlemen Barbers, is still under the umbrella of a thing called the Indoor Garden Party, which is what we call the shows. We've been working together now for 5 years. Last year we toured Australia, we toured to Malta, we did shows in Italy, and then Karlovy Vary in the Czech Republic. This year, we're doing like 15 more shows in Italy, we're doing Ireland, we're doing the UK, we're playing in France, we play in America, and then we finish off the tour, 40 shows or whatever, with a festival in Brazil. Now, this is a great recommend. What other music are you into at the moment, and what would you recommend? Talking about me recommending here a guy called Alex Cameron, who's an Australian singer-songwriter. He's got a particular type of humour. Alex, it's not everybody's cup of tea. He certainly makes me laugh a little bit, but also I just love his melodies and I love the way his songs work. Right at the moment, there's a guy in America called Break. He's got a song called Cigarettes and Black Lipstick Stains that I really dig. And I'm really getting into this guy, Ren. He's got a lot of music out, and he's just amazing. His voice is amazing. He's got an incredible rap. He's a great musician. He's had a sort of troubled life too, so it's kind of fascinating. Back to X. At Russell Crowe, I just watched Land of Bad and I really loved it. So much to take away from the film. There's great entertainment, but deals with such serious issues. But your line about how to spot a vegan was delivered perfectly. Are you interested in more comedic roles? Funnily enough, I try to put a little bit of comedy into pretty much everything I do, because a lot of the time people don't understand how funny they're being. They could be doing or saying something quite serious, but it makes you laugh. I like doing that little thing with an audience where I give them something that they think they've discovered and they don't realize necessarily that you intended them to have that discovery. Surely enough time's gone by for you to dust off your tricorn and make another Jack Aubrey film. No one could do it better, and the world deserves another. There's 20 books, for God's sake. I think most of the time Aubrey wears a bicorn, not a tricorn. Yeah, we talked about it a lot for a little while there, and there was a burn on it. But now I hear, and I could be completely wrong, but I hear they're going to start making a TV series. But yeah, we should have definitely done more than one movie. It's a funny thing though. Master and Commander is sort of, even though It got 10 or so Academy Award nominations, and it did very well box office globally. It just didn't hit the certain number in America, and at that time, that was a very dominant part of the decision. We kind of missed the boat, so to speak. Our shoot was over and done before they started shooting Pirates of the Caribbean, but then our post-production was very complicated and took a long time. So we came out after Pirates of the Caribbean. And just the way things work, once people have seen a big boat movie that's a comedy, then trying to get them to focus on a big boat period movie that's a drama, it wasn't so easy. And the way the movie was sold, it was like, the gladiator goes to sea, and that was going to miss its audience because it was a Peter Weir movie. And we should have been, as I like to say, playing to the smart kids. We should have been appealing to the people that just appreciate Peter Weir as a film director first. The smart kids set the tone. They're the ones that decide, what's cool, and everybody else follows along. So that's why you play with the smart kids. What's one book that impacted your life and changed your trajectory? Yeah, there was definitely a period of time where I was in my late teens, early 20s, where just like a lot of people, I was really sort of searching for, deeper meanings and other levels and trying to work out in my head what I wanted to actually really pursue. Paulo Coelho's The Alchemist, that was a big deal when I read that. But funnily enough, there was another book too called The Secret to Money is Having Some. And that sounds very trite, but it was just a book for clarifying what your actual pursuit is. I used it as a prop actually in a movie called Proof. I was playing a dishwasher in a restaurant and I had it sort of sitting on a shelf above me. YouTube. So I love this movie. It's talking about an Australian movie called The Water Diviner, which I directed, came out in 2014. Does anyone know if Russell Crowe has plans to do more directing? Hold on a second, I'll just ask him. Probably. I did another movie called Poker Face, where I took over a production that was about to fail. So it wasn't really like, I rewrote the script and all that sort of stuff, but that was a very difficult situation. Picking up an entire feature film, 6 weeks left in pre-production before shooting, it was very difficult. But yeah, more and more though, if I'm going to direct again, I want it to be stuff that I've written myself. Wow, I never know he co-owned a rugby league team. How did this come about, I wonder, and what have been the highlights? Yeah, when I was a kid, I started following a rugby league team called the South Sydney Rabbitohs, oldest rugby league team in Australia, formed in 1908. By the time you get around to the early 2000s, the team that was a championship team when I was a kid had become like perennial also-rans and losers. Sort of was breaking my heart a little bit, I remembered how much it meant for me to live in that district and have a successful football team. And I could see being able to make them successful again would have a very profound effect in that area. Australia is quite focused on sport, and quite inspired by sport. And I knew if I could put a situation together where the team could start to become successful again, then it would do much, much more in the community than simply create more people focused on sport. And I took over in 2006 because, I started giving the team money, but nothing was changing. So at one point in time, I said out loud in a public situation, I'm giving you money, but nothing changes. Maybe I should just take the place over and run the joint and blah, blah. And it ended up, that's what happened. There was a vote for me to take over as the owner. Since then, we've enjoyed quite a lot of success, particularly in 2014, when we won the premiership, which was for the first time in 43 years. Right, Craven the Hunter, what's this? Wonder how it feels for Russell to play an evil father. Seems to be quite a dark story. Well, if you know Craven the Hunter, the comic, then you're going to know that it really is a dark story. I think it's better to wait and let you see that without talking about it too much. Right, that's it. Signing off. Thank you very much.